Hi guys, Alex with Fan Media Network, and I'm here today with Dallas Jones. Dallas, can you introduce yourself?
Dallas. I graduated from Iowa in May. I had a chance to cover the Iowa basketball team last year, both men's and women's, so I'm excited to get started.
Okay, so today we're going to sadly talk about Iowa basketball. So how do you think they're doing right now? Like, they're supposed to be one of the best in the country, but they've not beat one, good contender in the NCAA.
I think obviously we have one of the best offenses in the league. Luka is obviously the best player in college basketball. I'm a big Joe Wieskamp guy. I think he's played great, but I think our biggest problem is on defense, and I think that's why we've lost these big games. It kind of seems like we're a little bit outmatched against Ohio State and Gonzaga especially, but yeah, that's kind of how I feel right now.
Yeah, like Joe Wieskamp has showed a lot of points in the past day, and he is showing that could be as good as Jordan Mohan and Luka Garza, those players. But if you don't have your defense, you're just not going to win games. Like, we could have beat Ohio State, but we let them get behind. Like, we let them get above us multiple times in the game, and it just did not work.
Yeah, I think a big thing, a part of that is we've seen towards the end of the game, we put in an all defense lineup and we had to take our whole starting five out. And I think that's a big problem when we see that the guys that are better defenders and that can help us on defense, they're young guys. They're not necessarily as put together on offense as Jordan and Joe and Luca. So I think that's our biggest problem is if we want to defend people better, we have to use guys who aren't necessarily as developed on the offensive side. So I think our biggest challenge right now is finding that balance in what lineups work the best to where we're not liability on defense, but we're also able to still score at a high rate that we usually do.
So if we continue to play like how we're playing right now, what do you think is going to happen in March? What do we need to improve on to make it past even the first weekend? Because right now, how they're playing, we're not going to make it past the first weekend.
Right. Luckily enough, we have enough talent to score with almost anybody. And I think that one thing that I've kind of looked at and reflected is that Big Ten is the best conference in basketball.
Mm-hmm.
So even though we haven't won these big games, we're talking about teams who are all very, they have the ability to make it to Elite Eight, Final Four.
Mm-hmm.
So I think some Iowa fans, including myself, we should try to look at it as, yeah, we're losing these games, but they're against the best teams in the country. I think that if we get good seeding and we get good matchups, we can make it through the first weekend. And luckily, we still have time to adjust, get better. We still have the Big Ten tournament, things like that. And because we haven't lost a lot of bad games, we'll still be able to get good seeding. And hopefully, that'll help us out.
Mm-hmm. So going into so besides the defense, what else do you think they can work on, like fixing, like whatever you think?
I think sometimes even in our offense, we get a little too stagnant where
Mm-hmm.
when we start getting down, our team starts scoring on us, we get to the point where we're like, all right, Luka, save us. And I think especially Joe, which I think he has NBA talent. I think he really has the second best talent on our team besides Luka. I would love to see him more aggressive. Yesterday, he was definitely more aggressive. He hit, I think, 4 or 5 threes yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
But some days, especially when he gets to a slow start, it seems like he kind of disappears a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But I just want to see more grit from the team. Luka obviously brings that every single game, and he works hard. But sometimes I feel like the rest of the team kind of coasts, and they're like, Luka's going to work hard, and we don't necessarily have to.
Yeah, I agree, because I feel like they have the mindset like, well, we have Luka Garza, we have the National Player of the Year talent, but like they're not competing, so he could be a better player and he can help his teammates, because you're not going to win a basketball game with just Luka Garza.
Right. And watching like the team last year, they didn't have that high of expectations, and they worked hard every single game. They knew that they weren't necessarily supposed to be as good as they were last year, and it felt like they were trying to prove something every day. I think that this year, starting off ranked so high, we kind of started off a little lazy. Like we didn't have to earn it.
Yeah, I agree. They definitely fell off. Like they know they're the best in the country, but they're not acting like they're best in the country. Like they kind of got cocky or something. I'm not really sure.
Exactly. We have the talent to beat anybody. But when you walk into a game expecting your talent to carry yourself through, that's not how basketball works.
Yeah, exactly.
You can come out and lose, especially in March. And that's what worries me the most, is that it feels like we expect to win every game and don't expect to earn a win every game.
Yeah, definitely.
So I think hopefully, I know Fran has the ability. He's really close with the players, and he has obviously the ability to get on their case. So hopefully it clicks, and earlier than later. Obviously, we're still in early February, so we still have a long time to adjust and we have that talent, so that's a bright spot.
Definitely. So like going into March, like they just need to figure out like how to like they just need to get that grit there and like do those things. And like we do have a while before like March comes. We have the Big Ten tournament, and we are going to be competing with Ohio State and Illinois. And like those were great games.
Hmm.
We both know both teams. It was incredible games to watch on both sides, but like they need to put that like more work in to be a winning team in the Big Ten.
Exactly. And I mean, one thing is like we don't have any ugly losses. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
we've blown leads, and like the Gonzaga game was tough, but we stuck in that game.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
Gonzaga is one of the more talented teams I've seen in college basketball in the last few years.
Mm-hmm.
And it'll be really interesting once we get into the postseason because this will be the first time anyone's played in the postseason in 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
So, and probably without crowds, big crowds, packed stadiums and arenas, it could be a whole different ball game. There's a big
Yeah.
difference between playing those games in March when you're in arenas that are so loud you can't hear compared to maybe a couple thousand people, if that,
And like
whatever they end up.
we're gonna have to adjust to not having the like fan like
Hmm.
like the madness within it. Like
Right.
it's gonna be
And
like because I think don't they want to do a bubble for March Madness or they not? Yeah, right.
yeah, they want to do it in I think Indianapolis. It's
Mm-hmm.
looking like, but I'm wondering because as we see in like the NBA bubble in the postseason, it seemed like a lot of players elevated their games. People who might not necessarily have been
Mm-hmm.
shooting as well or scoring as much did that. So I wonder if a bubble for college basketball, March Madness, we might see some players
Mm-hmm.
elevate to a whole different level.
Yeah, definitely. So, do you have anything else you want to touch on right now within Iowa basketball or just Iowa athletics in general?
Honestly, I'm just hopefully we make the adjustments. This is I think the best team on paper
Mm-hmm.
Iowa has ever had. And
Definitely agree.
they have the highest expectations any Iowa team has ever had. You see they're getting all this national attention. It's time for us to show that we want to be an elite program. We want to get that respect. The state of Iowa doesn't have the luxury of having professional teams. Iowa basketball, Iowa football, these are our Super Bowls champions and final champions and stuff like that. So they have the whole state behind them,
Mm-hmm.
and they have a fan base who is loyal to them and has stuck by their side for all this time. So hopefully they acknowledge that and they understand how much this season could really mean for the Iowa basketball program, and then makes those adjustments and hopefully makes a deep run in the tournament.
I think they have the ability to make the deep run once they make those adjustments. So.
Exactly.
Okay, so I'll be linking all of Dallas's social medias in the links down below. Thank you so much, Dallas, for being on the show today.
Absolutely. Thank you, Alexis.
To host a fan show or appear as a fan on a fan show, simply create a profile on Fan Media's iOS app or website. Select your teams and make a short intro video on your phone. Show hosts, reporters, former players, and superfans can use our Get Verified feature and make an intro video as well, and our mobile newsroom staff will reach out.